You become a product of the things that you consume in life. And this is not only related to the content that you watch, it's related to every single thing that is giving you some kind of input. What environments are you in consistently? What people do you hang around? What are your friends like? How do your friends talk about you and about the world around you? What about your family, your parents, your teachers, your classmates? What about your old teammates from a sport that you practiced? What about the music that you listen to, the podcast that you listen to, the books that you read? What kind of movies do you watch? Do you watch the news? What kind of channels do you watch and listen to? All of these things influence who you are and they shape you. And I haven't even touched upon the most important voice of them all, which is your self-talk. This is also some kind of input. How do you talk about yourself? How do you talk about the things that you're capable of in this world? How do you create the world around you with your thinking? And this is let's say a podcast that you listen to 24/7. All of these things are shaping you and you become a product of these things. But you have to become aware of how these things are influencing you and affecting you. Because sometimes we think that we are independent and our own unique person, which is true to a certain extent, but you have to be very intentional how you design the world around you, how you design this input so that it helps you to become the person that you want to become, and also that it supports you in living the life that you want to live. And I was confronted with this lesson, or this lesson was forced upon me at a very young age. I didn't even know this lesson existed. Because when I was 15 years old, I made my first big investment in a personal trainer. And this was 100 euros an hour, which was a lot of money back then. But this was, let's say, where my personal development journey started. Because I was going to the gym 5 times a week. I was relentless with my nutrition. I was weighing every single thing and measuring every single thing that I was eating. I was going to bed at 9, waking up at 5. I was doing the meditations. I was reading a book a week. I was doing all the things. And I was excited about the things that I was creating. But I come from a very small town. So anything related to developing yourself, it was weird. And especially at that age. Because at that age, people were playing video games. They were going out. They were drinking. It was about women. These kind of things were important. But developing yourself. So I thought I was doing a great thing. But I was getting so much resistance from my environment. And from the parents of my friends. Like I had some very tough confrontations because I was ruining my friendships. I was doing all of these crazy things. Why don't you go out with your friends anymore? Why don't you play video games with your friends anymore? All of these things were thrown at me and people didn't understand why I was doing these things. So if I was listening to them, if that was my main input, I would let go of all of the things that I was doing. But I believed so strongly in these things and in my direction in life. So what I did was, and this is the hardest thing that people often do in personal development, when they start growing, they outgrow the people around them that used to be their friends. They outgrow their environments. And this is such a scary thing because you move into this empty space where you haven't fully grown into a new environment yet, but you have to let go of the old to make space for the new. And this happens with people. You have to let go of old friendships to make space for the new. So I was lucky that I was already positively influenced by the environment of my personal trainer and the people that he hang around. So I had to let go of certain friendships. I had to cut out the noise. And it was not that I completely disconnected, but I removed the noise. And what I did was I was listening to motivational speakers probably 24/7. This was, and I know this sounds crazy, it's not that when you listen to a motivational speaker, then you become successful. It's not that type of thing, but I wanted to be consuming the information that was helping me to become the person that I wanted to become. So I was just listening on repeat to all of these speakers. When I was riding my bicycle, when I was in the train, when I was in the car, it didn't matter what I was doing. Every single time I had some space, instead of listening to music, I was listening to motivational speakers. And this was influencing my thinking to such a great extent. Like I believe that a lot of my consistency and focus, I would add to that part, that I was just listening to that. Because I was so intentional about what I was consuming, because the input around me was not helping me to move into that greater life that I was envisioning for myself. So this was already affecting also the way that I was thinking. Because just if you look at your life, how do you think that certain content that you watch, how it affects you, the way that you think about the world as well, about what is possible? If you constantly watch the news and you constantly see the wars that are going on and all of this stuff, how do you think about the world? Do you have a positive outlook on what's possible in the world? Or do you get this more depressive state? And if you are more in this depressive state or hopeless state, how do you think that will create in this world? Do you think from that state you're able to create deep connections with people? Or do you start to complain more? Do you start to see the negative more? Like, it's so subtle how all of these things are affecting you. It is insane. And that's why you want to be mindful in the way that, how are you designing your life? How are you intentional about the input? Are you putting yourself in environments that inspire you, that excite you? Are you putting yourself in environments that challenge you? Because this is also what we often avoid. We're always in this little comfort bubble, and what I call a comfort zone is the things that you know, the things that are familiar to you. So your comfort zone can even be uncomfortable. But if it's familiar to you, you are staying in your comfort zone. If you're constantly hanging around the same kind of people, if you're constantly watching the same kind of things, like, how does that help you to evolve and to grow? So this is where you have an idea of what the best version of you looks like. You have an idea of what that incredible life looks like for you. How are you intentionally designing your environment, the people that you listen to, the content that you watch, that is helping you to move towards that type of life? How are you intentionally shaping the way that you think about the world, the way that you create the world around you? Because sometimes we think that we are our thoughts, that the way that we think is just the way it is. But you can intentionally shape this. You can see, where are your thoughts even coming from? Because it is even a byproduct of your environment. Your thinking is a byproduct of these things. Sometimes your thoughts aren't even your thoughts. They are from a teacher that you listened to in the past. They are from your parents that didn't believe in you. They are from the friends that had no ambition at all. And now you took over these kind of thoughts and you made them your own. But they are not even true to you. Are these the most powerful thoughts that you can have about yourself and the world around you and about your dreams? This is what you have to question the hell out of. And that's why this self-discovery journey is so difficult, because you have to let go of a lot of things and you have to have all this confrontation. You have to question these things, but there's also so much freedom and confidence and power on the other side of this, where you get to recreate yourself and you get to recreate the world around you. You get to recreate the way that you think about yourself. And sometimes, and that's why what I did with the motivational speakers, sometimes that means you have to brainwash yourself. I just listen to these things on repeat. And it's not just that I believe in affirmations and these kind of things. It's not that when I say this information, then I'll become successful, but it influences the way that you think. So when I listen to motivational speakers non-stop, how do you think that I will relate to judgments, rejections, failure? Because they always talk about these topics, about a comeback. So how do you think I will relate to these things when these happen? Because the way that you relate to them is also how you've been programmed in the past. So if you are able to reprogram yourself, if you are intentionally able to relate differently to rejections, to resistance, to fear, because when you listen to motivational speakers non-stop, how do they talk about fear? They're not like, oh, when you experience fear, you have to run away and hide. This is not the things that they say. You have to lean into it. You have to walk with the fear. You have to face the fears. You have to even look for the fears, because this is where the growth is. So if I listen to something like that non-stop, what do you think happens when I experience fear? Do I think, oh, I need to run away? Like, no, I've been programmed to move towards it. So all of these little things, they will help you in your journey, but you have to be very intentional about the way that you are designing it. And this is such a fun process, because we can get into the nitty-gritty of, like I said, the things that you listen to. And there are so many ways that you can design your life around you that supports you in moving towards that dream life of yours, towards becoming that version that you know you're capable of being. Because if you imagine that version right now, or if you see that dream life in front of you, is your environment, the people that you have around you, the things that you consume, is it supporting you in that journey? And sometimes, and I know this sounds harsh, you need to have a hard look at the people that you hang around, the environments that you're in. Just because you used to do this all of your life doesn't mean that you have to keep doing it for the rest of your life. Sometimes people are there in your life for a season, for a moment. Sometimes they are there for you all of your life. But you have to have an honest look. Is this really supporting me in my journey? And when I was younger, I could see this is not supporting me at all. Like, I made the decision as in, I would rather go alone, all by myself, than to be dragged down by the people around me. And that was a very hard decision. And this is where I developed this lone wolf mentality, which I regret, but it had to be done in that moment because I didn't know any other way. But this is where I developed the lone wolf mentality. And now I'm unlearning that mentality because it is not serving me at all. And I wouldn't say it's serving anyone to have this lone wolf mentality, because people nowadays are so afraid to ask for help. I hear this from so many men. They want to do everything by themselves. They feel worthless if they can't do it by themselves, if they have to ask for help. And I believe you must learn the skill to ask for help as well. So because this is also related to how do you design your environment and the people around you. Like, do you ask for help when you need it? Do you have a strong support system that supports you in your journey when you get stuck? Like, this is all part of you designing the world around you and designing also your internal world. So yeah, that's it for now. You become a product of the things that you consume in life. So make sure that you are talking to a certain caliber of people, that you are consuming a certain type of content. And what I also want to mention is that I created a free training called the All-In Method. And this is not like any other course where you are left on your own, because with this training, you will receive a one-on-one strategy session with me to make sure that this works for you. And this is the All-In Method. It's all about the foundation of change, because I also believe that yes, all this designing your environment is very important, but you have to get to the core of what is actually creating a transformation in my life, what is shifting my whole existence. And we can overcomplicate this process of change so much. And that's why with the All-In Method, I cut out all the noise of personal development, the stuff that you don't need, and I brought it back to the core of transformation that most people avoid. Most people are afraid to look at this part because it is the hardest part in personal development, but it's also the thing that creates the most amount of transformation. And it's all about leaning into your fear, leaning into your edge, taking the scary actions, making bold moves in life, because you already know what you want to be doing. But sometimes we start to question our direction. Is this the right path? Is this the right direction? And that's where we get stuck in all the questioning. So that's why I designed this training for people to really create this breakthrough. And that's why you will receive a one-on-one complimentary session with me to make sure that this works for you. Because that's how badly I want you to succeed. So if you are interested in the training, I'll put a link in the description below somewhere. So yeah, be very intentional about the way that you design the world around you, that you design your internal world, because it is affecting you more than you can imagine.